Hello and welcome. So in this video we're going to create this right here. So it's a number to word converter. That's in case someone enters in a number and then they hit submit, it's converted to its equivalent in words. That's 104. And I would like to thank the 104 friends that decided to subscribe. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and create this. Okay, so I have a folder here. That's the number to words folder, and I'll create the files that I'll be using for this video. So I'll need an HTML file. Let me just create a CSS file if we get to work with it, and the JavaScript file. Let me just name it script.js. So that's it. So first we shall work on our HTML file, and you know I always use emmet, so it helps me write HTML faster. It's like a superpower. So if I have it here, maybe change the title to number to words and start our live server here. Okay, so if I have, so that's it, number to words. You can see the title here. So here I'll create a main element here, and then create a form. I won't need the action. We give it an ID of form. Then inside the form I would need a label, and this label can say enter number. Okay, that's it. Then you also need an input field, and this would be for the number, type number. Then give it an ID of num. Let me give it a name also, num. That for here we just enter the num. So this helps us for accessibility reasons. And that's it. So maybe we also need a submit button here. Submit with its value as submit. And then after that, maybe an H field to represent our converted word that's converted. Then represent it here with a sperm of ID as converted. So that's it for the HTML. Maybe just include the CSS and JavaScript files. So that's it with the HTML. Let's head over to the JavaScript. So first I'll define my constants here. We'll have a form, get element by ID. We had the form ID in the HTML. Then I also need the num, which is our number. That means that still get element by ID, and that's the number. Then I would have the converted, which is equal to document that get element by ID. Still we had the ID for the converted. So that's it. So what we want is when the user submits the form, we get to convert the number they have entered to some value here. So I'll come and say form.onSubmit. We give it an event. So let's first prevent the default behavior of reloading, refreshing the page. So in default, let's say converted inner HTML is equal to our num.value for now. So if I do that, put here 1, submit, we get a 1, put here 22, we get a 22. Let's work on the converting part. So to convert, this will be the same as what we did for the Roman numerals. We have our bank that has the common cases, and for this case it can be mapping the ones, zeros, nines, all that. So let's create that object over here. So I'll create it as ones, and for this case I've called it ones, but I will include from 0 to I would include from 0 to 19 with an object from 0 to 19, because this can always we don't have like 1900 or something like that sort. So if I have one, let me start from 0. So that's it. We have 0 to 19. On submit, would, instead of converting it directly, we'll check if maybe let's convert it to a string. If the number dot value, we shall check if it is in our object, that's in the ones object. If yes, we then put the converted that inner HTML as the value that comes from the ones, then at the key of our num, to turn it into a number, that's num.value. So I guess that's it. Let's save and try that out. So if I have 0, it gives me 0. Okay, this is working. If I have a number between like 4, it gives me 4. And if I have the extreme the last number, which is 19, I get the 19. So at least for the numbers between 0 and 20, we're able to get the value. But what if I had 20 itself, or 21? So there I get no change. And let's work on that. So to do that, we have to create another object, and this object, we may call it, because for 20, 30, 40, 50, we just prefix that 20 before the number. So this would be 21. If I add here a 9, this would be 91. So we shall create our object of prefixes. Hope that's a spelling. So just in case I have a 2, I would map this to 20. Let me keep it uniform with the double quotes. So 30 until I go on to 90. So we have our prefixes here from 220, that's 9 for 90. So what we shall do is just check if our the digit the person has entered is more than 2, is 2, okay, has a length of 2. That's if we convert it into a string. Then if it has the length of 2, is it greater than 19? So that's what we shall check for. So if I have maybe for this case I don't need that, I just check here and see. Okay, so I'll just see if the num.value that length is equal to 2. Let's use the switch equals is equal to 2, and then num.value. At least we shall need the number which, yeah, if it is greater than 19. So that's it. So if so, I'll just copy this, paste it here. Let's say change value is equal to, let's log out, try out something to see if it reaches here. So hey, so it's reading this. So the converted value would be equal to, we pick the prefix from our prefix object, and then the ones from the ones object. So I would say is equal to prefix Then in the prefix, you know what, let's turn this into an array to be able to get the values at the different indexes faster. So I'll say my number array is equal to num dot value dot let's split it. I save the num array from here. That length is equal to 2. Okay, prefix, I want the num array at the index, num array at the index of 1 and not of 0. Let's see if it's making sense. Okay, I get the 90. And this plus the 0 from the zeros object, and then the num array at the index of 1. So what I'm saying, if I have a number as 90, I split it to get an array of 9 and then 1. Then at the num array at in the index of 0, I have 9. So I check in the suffixes object, and 9 is mapped to 90. So I get 90. Then that's plus from the ones array. So I split this into 9 and 1. So from the ones array, I should be able to get out the 1, which will give me 91. So 91, 23. Oh, so that works. So for now, we can work with a new value from 0 to 99. Okay, but what about 100? So how would we work with 100 and beyond? So it's the same thing actually. So we shall just check if the length is equal to 3. In this case, we don't need to check if the value is greater than 19, because it will always be greater than 19. So if the length is equal to 3, and then we do the same. So maybe to continue, let me just copy from this. As I said, we won't be needing this, and we are checking if the length is equal to 3. So as I said, if our num array dot length is equal to 3, then what I want is change this. So okay, we shall still have the prefixes, but then we have that first value as in the hundreds. So it will still be either 100, 200, 300, 900. So we shall pick this value from the ones. So from the ones num array, and we expect this to be the value at index 0. Then plus, in this value we shall add 100, and then add it to the others. So if I have something as 112, I get the 100. Okay, it's fine. Oh, this moves to index 0, index 1, index 2. So I get 100. Oh, I get y. So if I have something like 23, that would work. 123, 199. So the reason why something as 101 won't work is because 101 is not in the prefixes. Because in the you get y in the prefixes, we have from 1 to 19. So it would have to check. We have 20s and what, but in the ones, that's where we have the 01 to be precise. So I would have other ifs inside this. Maybe if we get our, turn it to a string, our num array at the index of 1, if it is equal to 0, then we want our converted value to be equal to Ctrl Z, just copy it. Want the converted value to be equal to 1s, then we don't have the prefix. That's because it's equal to 0. So in the case of 101, why do I still have the undefined? Oh, this is running. So I get the 101. In case I have 9, I get the 109. And else if our num array at the index 1 if it is greater than, let's do less than. If it is less than 2, that means it is from 19, 18, 10. So if it is less than 2, then I would like to have the converted values, the value at ones. Then I don't need the prefixes also. I think this is the same. So if I have 19, I get 109. Oh, so I'm picking out the last value but not the first one. So to solve this, maybe I would create an array of the last two digits. That's the num array at index of 1. Create an array out of these two. Then pick out the number they form. That's on joining them. So this would work. So I'm getting the 1 and 9, joining them to form 19, and then searching in the one's object. So we get 119. So that works. Okay. And then lastly, that's if it's greater than 2. Then that's when we shall bring in this. So that's if it's 1999. Okay. At least for now we can get values from 0 to 999. 999. Okay, so we shall look at next. Let's work on if it is in thousands. So let's create that for thousands. So for the 1000s, in case you already see it, well, we shall just check if the length is equal to 4. So if I get this and check if the length is equal to 4, then for 1000, let me say if I had 1, 2, 3, 4. So the value that's at 0 will be moved to index of that's 2, 0, 1, 2. So instead of checking if the number is equal to 1, oh, okay, even this we shall check it. So in case it's equal to 0, that means we don't have a values because it would read 1. I'm saying we shall first let me add the provision of thousands. So it will be still it is 1000, 2000, 9000. That's why we're checking it in the nums array that we created. Ones array that we created. So in this case, nums at 0, and would prefix it with 1000. Then plus this would go to ones, and then 100 plus this. Okay, let's check. Okay, so this 2. Okay, this becomes 1. This will become at index 3. Same thing over here. Let me just copy this. We shall see the changes as I explain why they happen. So let me put something here. So here we get 1434, and this is okay. That's the value that we have here. So we are getting the ones, that's the 1 up to 9 from the thousands, and adding it to the 4, that's at index 4, adding the 100, and then the 3, that's at the prefix position, so it becomes 30, and then 4. So this would work for even up to 9,999. But if I had something like 1119, so that's 1119. This works. That's because for this part we change, and then we make an array of the 2, that's of the value at the index 2, and then at index 3, then we convert them to 19. So if I add here 0, we get 1009. That's the part that we have to change. So if the first value is equal to 0, so we don't need this part over here, so we can remove it here. So that's okay. If I convert this, I'm able to get the 1000 y9. So this changes also. This has to be this. If I paste it there, and in this case, yeah, it's next to 1 so we get the 1019. So that's okay. Maybe something you can notice is that if I put here 0, I get this 1009. Okay, so this works out fine. So that's it. At least for now, we can get values between 0 and 9. That's 9999. So we can get any value between that. So to work on higher values, that's 10,000s and millions, you can either continue doing the same if you are okay with writing all these if statements. Or I don't need to save this. Saving this. If you're okay with writing all these ifs, or you can turn it into a switch and still do the conditional flow. But you could also create another object that's for the prefixes. Okay, let me say suffixes, where you have 1 for thousands, 2 for millions, then billion and trillion. But I'll do that in the next video. That's because we shall not use the same if logic as this. And if you want that to be the next video or to be uploaded in the next 2 weeks, you can leave it in the comment. Suggest maybe to make it a little bit better. I would add simple CSS, but most of the part I wanted to show you was in the JavaScript. So let's add the padding 0. Why not make the background color that we always work with? Specify it's really as that, height as okay. Okay, that would work for me. So maybe style the main a little bit also. So what would I want from the main? Give this a display. Do the same with the main. Give it a display flex, and then the direction to be columns. Oh, these are in the form, so that's what I should target. We'll give it an idea of form. So this should actually be here. In the form, just for content, succinct. Okay, we need to work on that button. The call to action. Give it an idea of CTA. First, we need the margin top. To background color. Anything that's blue, like so. This is not what I had in mind. And then the color to take it back to white. we don't want a border 9. Increase the padding a little bit to 20 pixels. Okay, let's do 5 to 20. Okay, this is okay. Then we have our first input. Okay, let's just give the label margin bottom of 5 pixels. Let's keep them far apart. So I guess this is it for me. 67. Okay, thank you for watching. See you in the next video.